Welcome back, guys. Today we are here with the Z-42. Not a new ship. Definitely not a new ship, but it is in the shipyard right now. And it is for a fantastic price in the shipyard right now. Um, Z-42 is one of my personal, favorite DDs to play in Tier 10 right now. Now, take this with a grain of salt because right now Tier 10 is kind of infested with CVs, and some DDs don't like CV matches. Z-42 was one of those destroyers. Um, And the reason is because of his playstyle, but we'll get into that when we get to the gameplay and stuff. So yeah, Z-42, it's in the shipyard. I think 15 and 15 is the price for Z-42. Could be wrong. I'll have to double check. So yeah, 15 steel, 15 titanium. Um, for the first time in a long time, we have a tier 10 in the shipyard, and it is a good one. So what makes Z-42 so good? I know a lot of people have been asking about Z-42 and how to play Z-42, so this is kind of my guide to Z-42. Um, So yeah, let's get into the comparison first to the other, I guess from the previous video, from the other destroyer, which is the Z-52, which actually kind of buffed this update. I was thinking about making a video about Z-52, just to revisit it. The HP difference between these ships used to actually not be that large. Now it's pretty substantial. Z-52 has about 2,000 more HP, 2,500 more HP than Z-42. And you do have a little bit better damage reduction. So Z-42 isn't like the healthiest DD. This is a bit in the contrast to like Rigoldo's, Bazans, even Gadon's have the nerfs. Well, nerf. Even those ships still have much more HPs to work with than a Z-42, so just something to keep in mind. Maneuverability wise, Z-42's base speed is pretty bad. It's a pretty slow destroyer base. Even Z-52 is much better base speed. The acceleration relative to max speed is also not that great. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it's also not like great either. The turning's pretty workable, I'd say. Now the ship does have the benefit of it's a very small destroyer, so it's not like super like easy to hit like a Gdansk or something, but it is also like not the most maneuverable ship or the craziest health wise. Gun wise, this okay. So on paper, the guns do seem worse than Z-52 in every single way. Base reload is worse. The gun range is worse. The HE is abhorrently garbage on the ship. Never shoot HE. The ship is so bad. The AP is worse. The turret traverse is worse. However, this looks nice for the Z-52 on paper. And the Z-52's guns they're solid. They're not bad guns. Z-42's guns are just way better though, because you have instead of 6, you have 10 guns on Z-42, which really changed the landscape of this. So even the numbers look pretty bad for Z-42 here. The DPM is way higher than Z-52. Like Z-42 is some of the highest AP DPM of any destroyer tier 10. And Alpha, Z-52 does like 3k alphas with 3k AP alpha. On DDs, this thing does a well over 4k because you have more guns. So you're hitting for almost for Golo salvos with your AP. Well, not quite a Golo. You're hitting more for like Calaber AP salvos with your AP, and you just chunk people out of existence with your salvos. The shell velocity is still really good. It's still German shell velocity. The gun ballistics are pretty good. They're not quite as flat though. As Z-52, they do have a bit more of an arc, but more than workable. Um, Torps again. This case it will be worse because not only are the base Z-52 torps just better, leg mod Z-52 has even better torpedoes. So torp wise, you are worse than Z-52, but it's not really a bad thing because your torps are still workable. They still have decent range, decent speed. They don't really do great damage, but they do damage at least over nothing. AA is, well, it's worse, but not that Z-52's AA is particularly good either. And your concealment actually is worse. This is probably the only major downside compared to Z-52 is your worse conceal pushing in, but that doesn't matter because if you look at the skills, Z-42 has an excellent array of skills. Now, you don't have Speed Boost 3, you have Speed Boost 1, or Speed Boost, I should say, you only have 4 Speed Boosts out of 3, but they're not Speed Boost 2, they're Speed Boost 1. That's fine. You just spam Speed Boost the entire game. Um, So, which is really nice because you kind of need speed boosts. Like, even with speed boosts, you only go like 39 knots, I think. So you really do need speed boosts to actually like maintain a decent speed. You have two Hydro 2s, which are just so nice to have. Always good when a DD hunter has Hydro. And you have short burst smokes, which if you don't know, short burst smokes is basically like 2-3 puffs of smoke that don't last a long time, but they last longer than fuel smokes. You can sit in them for about 16, 17 seconds, and they come back very fast compared to normal smokes. Honestly, I prefer this over the Z-52 smokes because Z-52 only has two normal smokes. Their cooldown is horrific. It's 105 seconds, so they take a long time. So even though they do last longer each time, you end up having just more time of smoke via Z-42's 5 short burst smokes, and they come back with mystery for 40 seconds, so you just have them in every engagement you take. So yeah, so Z-42 on paper doesn't look that good, but once you do the numbers and you look at the skills, the ship's actually just phenomenal. S tier DD, one of the best DDs in the game right now, tier 10. Um, yeah, no, Z-42 is just an excellent destroyer. So talk about the build. Standard DD build, you just run this. Some people have asked me, do you run turret traverse? I don't run turret traverse. You don't turn that much in this ship. You're not doing like you're not doing like crazy turns like Calibert, where you're YOLOing people from side to side. And you're not like, kiting in this ship per se, so you don't really need to have it either. So, reload does perfectly fine, and it buffs your DPM even further. Elite bonus to EGO, obviously. I am using Maximilian von Spee on my main account. I am also using Maximilian von Spee. Emergency response, torpedo alert plus, preheating plus. Sixth sense is a very good skill for this ship. Daredevil plus, obviously sonar. Mistweaver plus is another big one because you do want to have these smokes coming back. Even just normal Mistweaver is very clutch because you need to have these smokes coming back as fast as possible. Engine overload, honor seeker, APCS plus. APCS plus is such a good skill for this ship. This ship has only 105mm guns, so your gun caliber is not very good, which means that you kind of need to get all the AP pen you can get. Now, the AP pen does really well with normal APCS. However, you just APCS or APCS plus really what you want to have on this ship. It allows you to do more damage when you're hitting weak points on cruisers and BBs, and it gives you more consistent full pens on DDs, especially larger DDs. Giant Hunter. Now, for those who have level 15 commanders, this is the standard DD hunt, Gumbo DD build. Specialist, especially Specialist. You get first strikes a lot in the ship if you're hunting DDs. So this is very nice to have for another smoke and hydro. And active reload is just really good because it buffs your DPM further, and the ship can do a lot of damage throughout the game. So, yeah, camo. There is an Iron Cross camo for this ship. I don't know if it will ever return. If it does, this is what it is: ship HP, firing range, max reverse speed, surface detection. It's not a bad camo actually. I would say if you have this and don't have HC, it actually would still do fine. But because this isn't in the shipyard, I'm gonna be using the HC, which is basically the same thing, but you have torp range to the ship HP. So it's a good camo. Battle honors, 2 DDs, that's pretty easy in Z-42. This thing does kill DDs incredibly fast. So, yeah. Let's get into the gameplay. Alright, and here we are with the battle. I'll be showing 2 games in this video. They aren't 100k crazy games, no world record games. They're just nice games to show off what Z-42 can actually do. So we're playing in Sleeping Giant, and we're gonna be going up against Z-42 on our flank. One thing to know about Z-42 is that it is an absolutely outrageous destroyer hunter. Absolutely outrageous destroyer hunter. And definitely one of the best in the game for destroyer hunting, especially in random battles where you find gearings and shimlas. They it's disgusting what happens to them. It's also just really satisfying. um, it's like a safer version of Rogolo, essentially, when it comes to DD hunting. Not as extreme, with the salvos and the DPM, but definitely, Smoke Hydro is a really, really strong combination. Um, and as you will see, we're going to be finding a Z-52 on our side. Not Z-52, Z-42, I should say. On our side. Yeah, don't do this. Don't, just W in. Wing in is fine, but, don't do what he's doing, which is, he's committing to the fight, which is, why is he turning around and sending torps, but Yeah, I mean, he's ran into 2 cruisers, me, he's gonna eat 2 of my torps, and goodbye, sir. Free first strike. Conquer hits for a decent amount with HE, so we're just, we can't really engage this anymore, and we need to wait for a smoke before we can re-engage Smolensk, so we're just gonna let him be over there. So we're just gonna relocate around, into B, because obviously chasing Smolensk that's just spamming HE isn't really gonna go too well for us. The ship doesn't really have the craziest speed, like I said earlier, so and we don't have a lot of HP, so like chasing Smolensk, we can't do like something then Alvaro de Bazan would do, or Gdansk, or Kleber. You get to play a little more conservatively with our health, so just need to keep in mind. So one kill already. This thing's very good at winning games because this ship has so much game influence as a DD hunter. So even though you don't have the craziest farming potential as other DDs, like big gumbo DDs, you can definitely get the wins up. Although the farming of the ship actually isn't too bad if you can get yourself into a position where you can like use your guns and your torps. The DPM does rack up pretty fast. You just kind of have one big downside to farming, which is your lack of speed. A lack of speed really kills a farming because if you're playing winds too fast, you can't relocate to damage like a Bazan would, or Kleber, or Gdansk, or Marceau, any of these fast big gumbo DDs. You know, you can't HE spam at range like a Haragumo. So Haragumo has more range, has the ability to range farm more consistently with its guns, and it has just better torps to farm with. So yeah, you need to get much closer to actually get to effective farming, and so that kind of limits your abilities for farming compared to those. But well, my main account I have like 97k average, so it is possible if you want to farm, but just keep that in mind. Um, this golden line is well, he's kind of dead because we trapped him here. Um, yeah, bye bye golden line. There he goes. I'm hydroing so I can solve this Moskva behind the rock. I could have gone for that Montana, but I'm like, this Montana is running into 3 people, including a Gdansk, so I don't really need to be the one helping with this Montana, so I'm gonna go YOLO this Moskva instead. I see Conquer to the left of me. We'll take some damage, but that's okay, because we're gonna get the YOLO off, and even though these aren't the best torps, there's more than enough damage to kill a Moskva at that HP. There he goes. Get that Montana's just dying over there. So we're gonna repush here. Not a lot of gun damage so far, but we'll get the gun damage up in a moment. We've just been having to use our torps a bit. Using our last heal. We still have 3 smokes. I mean, again, specialists, so we would have 2 smokes, but we don't really need 3 smokes anyways, so it is fine. You can see I'm just waiting for my smokes. They come back so fast. It's kind of ridiculous how fast they come back. But in any case, we're just gonna smoke up, use our guns, aim for the bow, weak points. I should have kept shooting bow. I shot stern because I can get better damage aiming better at the stern, but he's turning in. When he turns in like that, it's a little harder to aim for the stern, so we're just gonna go for superstructure in the meantime. Not the best damage on the superstructure. Ideally, we'd be hitting for stern or bow. Yeah, that was much nicer. You see the damage of the guns racks up so fast in just a few salvos. And he's healing. He's actually stuck on the rock, and there's Smolensk. We have no heals, but we do have a smoke coming up soon, so we can't fight Smolensk since we get smoke. And you do have enough pen actually to Citadel Smolensk in this thing, as you will see in a moment. We're gonna smoke up, reverse. Oh, there's one Citadel. Yeah, it's very satisfying to fight Smolensk like this, with your AP. You just hit a nice chunky AP salvos in Smolensk. And oh, there's another Citadel, 608. Another Citadel. It's a lot of Citadels. And we get Sick Crisis. So yeah, that is the power of Z-42 AP against CLs. You can really rip through some of these CLs. Smolensk, Colbert gets ripped through. Colbert just gotta be careful because you don't want to get too close to Colbert without torps because otherwise you just get annihilated by its DPM. Same thing with Smolensk. Genon is free pickings in Z-42. If you have a Genon 1-on-1 and you can smoke up, it is a bad day for the Genon because your DPM is pretty similar except that you're much harder target to hit and the average Genon player ain't that good. So you can usually outgun random Genon in this thing pretty easily. Obviously, Austin, you gotta be careful because Austin can just nuke you in the moment you get spotted. Um, but yeah, so that's Z-42. Nothing else happens for this rest of this game. This DD's not spotted, so we're just gonna go straight into the next match. And here we are in Aurora. Only two tier 9 BBs. Compared to our tier 10s. Nice MM, by the way. We're facing a Genon, Brindisi, Yirium, Shimamarso, Lion, Missouri. And we're in the good spawn for Aurora. This is actually the better spawn for Aurora in this ship, in my opinion, because if there's islands, you might have to play island games, and random DD island games is kind of annoying sometimes in this ship because people will just run away because they know what the Z-40 is, what's gonna happen to them against the Z-42, or Hydro. Open water though, if you catch them, they have no escape, and when they have no escape, you just shred through destroyers like no tomorrow. So we're just gonna use our speed boost again. Again, just using our speed boost, always trying to get the speed going. You always gotta keep in mind the cruisers you're facing because Z-42, while it is nice to play, and it does have good APDP, I think that's some cruisers if you hit weak points. You're still low HP DD that doesn't have a lot of speed, so you can still eat a ton of cruiser salvos if you're not careful. Preemptive torps, there's Shima. In hindsight, I should have probably pushed more into the Shima. I was just a bit cautious of the Brindisi in this match. If I had pushed up, I probably would have killed the Shima earlier. I'd end up killing him anyways in the match, but if I pushed up earlier, would have killed him faster. Probably gonna got to the damage earlier. But we have Hydro, so we don't have to worry about torps. I don't even think he sent that to us, so even less to worry about. I'm just looking around trying to see where the cruisers are. I'm trying to find a Brindisi mostly. Minnow you can kind of manage, but Brindisi is a bit of a problem. If he hits you with a sap salvo, there is Brindisi, so once I know he's going to get behind the rock, I can actually push forward freely, basically. Yeah. This Shima is kind of crazy. He's pushing back into a Z-42. I'm not sure why you'd ever do that to yourself. If you know this is Z-42, you just took a decent amount of your HP. You really shouldn't be pushing back into one in a Shima. So yeah, we just hit a nasty, like, 3k salvo, I should say. That was the nastiest salvo. I've hit a crazier salvo, especially if you have AP camo. You can really get some nice salvos in Z-42. Not just for the pen, but for the Alpha Strike. Breaking Torp 2, Shimakaze life, man. Breaking Torp 2s. I'm just gonna keep pushing. One of our turrets in the middle, or the one turret in the middle, is facing forward, so actually pushing with Z-42 is actually more ideal than kiting, which I think really just enhances the DD hunting of the ship even more. And so yeah, this guy dies. Dies to encounter. There's a Marceau. I tried to reverse, keep the rock between me and the Brindisi. Should take some pot shots at the Marceau because this thing obviously you want to be shooting DDs. That it should be your first main target in this ship. So we do a little bit of damage to him. And this Gearing, for some strange reason, this Gearing wants to take a gunfight with the Z-42. I don't know why people do this themselves. Maybe they haven't seen it of Z-42. It has been a pretty rare ship to see until now, so... Yeah, I mean, look at these salvos when start hitting on this guy. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's chunking his HP. Insanity salvos. Yeah, 4k right there. That's probably one of the best salvos you could possibly get. And he goes. Yeah, the DPM isn't even close. He did like maybe 5k to us in the time it took us to do like, what, 20k? So, yeah, no, it's not really close. I'm usually sending torps in a little farther forward because I'm going to try to bait this line with my guns out. Try to bait them forward since BB players, they tend to, when they see someone, a DD shooting them, they usually expect torps to be launched, so he's going to start going forward. In preparation, unfortunately for him, I already led my torps enough in preparation for that, so he's going to eat some of my torps. So yeah, and I mean, the DPM just got to racks up at this point once we're at this range. We can hit some nice AP salvos into him, there he goes. Genon, that's the kind of cruisers we need to be seeing in this ship, stuff like Genon. I think we kill him. Yes, there he goes. And then it's just Brindisi chilling around. So yeah. Yeah, that's Z-42. Hope this helped you guys a bit with the Z-42. Definitely recommend this ship for people who want a DD Hunter. If you want a fun tier 10, I would still recommend it. It's a really good price for a tier 10. A really good one at that. And it's also really good for a commander trainer. If you plan to have a commander trainer for the German destroyers, This is actually a good ship because it has the smoke, sonar, and speed boost skills for the Z-42 line. So if you're grinding that line, you want to have a commander trainer. This is a good commander trainer. For that. So yeah, that'll be it for me. If you're wondering why I'm gonna kind of stop talking, Marceau is just gonna run for the rest of this match, and we don't actually. I think we end up killing Marceau, but it will be me. So he's just gonna run for the next 2 minutes. So yeah, that'll be it for me, and see you guys next time.